What's going on, guys? It's Sauceman K, and we are back for probably my longest video ever, okay? This is a JJK video. As you can see, we got the JJK topic right here, and we're just going to be going through some Instagram comments, alright? You can probably tell by the title, alright? I'm probably going to title the video something like, My Problem with the JJK Community, or something rambunctious. So we're going to be talking about this whole little issue that we have on screen. So this is my account, JBlackMillionaire. You can follow me if you want to. I'm not really doing this for followers. It's just, you know, I do comment on Instagram a lot, and this whole thread, there's over 90-some comments in this thread we're going to be looking at. It just really, it reeks of just reading comprehension issues, you know, just language. Like, I don't know if these people are like real. Like, I don't know if they actually speak a language. I don't know if they can like do basic math, things like that. Like, I'm not sure if I'm interacting with real human beings yet. They feel so confident, and they get thousands upon hundreds of likes, as you can see, agreeing with them. But the things that they're saying are just completely fucking retarded. Like, just out of this water, out of the world, just completely false. You know, it's like they just don't understand what they're reading. So, the post says, you know why we are called special grade? It's because we have the power to destroy a nation, right? And top comment here, this is a couple days old. I tried to record this video like 2 days ago, but the audio got fucked up, so we're a few days later. I responded right away because I saw the post when it first came up. The person says, you can delete the world, right? Yuki's this woman right here. And obviously Gojo, right? The guy in the middle, or I guess to the right, because Yuta's whatever, right? The guy right here, he is the strongest sorcerer, okay? So people say that Yuki can destroy a planet, which that's just directly stated here in this chapter. Right, you see her black hole, it could have blown up the world, but her will and the barrier that Tengen used suppressed it, right? So that's why people say that Yuki could destroy the world. And then I respond, I say, and she's weaker than Gojo. Really makes you think, right? Maybe Gojo isn't city level like most people say. And by the way, like I just said earlier, I've tried to record this video 2 or 3 times now over the last few days. The audio kept getting messed up, so I'm not going to read out every comment verbatim. I'll give like a general, you know, rundown of like what they're saying, but you know, you guys can obviously read on screen. You can see what the responses and what the original replies are. So, but yeah, I'm saying that, you know, if Gojo's the strongest sorcerer, it doesn't really make sense for him to only be city level, because Yuki, who's not the strongest sorcerer, is stated to be able to destroy the world, right? So sorry if I ever mute or anything. I gotta cough, take a drink or whatever. I'm gonna be talking a lot, so I don't know if I want to just start with my own breakdown of the topic or get people's responses. I mean, I guess we can just address this guy. He's already on screen. He does think that Gojo's city level. It's just that Yuji, he spells Yuki as Yuji, amazing 300 IQ. Yuji can summon a literal black hole. Ain't nothing Gojo gonna do if she does that. So I guess I'll address the literal black hole claim, right? I don't know if you guys know anything about black holes. I don't know if you guys are into science or whatever space, but in our world, in the real world, black holes do in fact have infinite mass at their, or it's either infinite mass or infinite density, one of the two. Infinite something, right? At their finest point, so at their event horizons, at their center, they are like infinite, right? However, in Jujutsu Kaisen, well, for one, we can see that this is just not literally a black hole, right? It is like a black hole, quote unquote. Like, it's a type of black hole, but if you know, I don't want to just keep saying if you know anything about, you know, science, but like there are different types of black holes, right? So this is not a literal black hole that you would find in our world in space, but it is a black hole, if that makes sense, right? And I mean, Kenjaku identifies it as such, and he also says that it could have destroyed the planet, so it definitely is a really big deal, but it's not a literal black hole that you'd find in space, right? But the description that we get to actually describe this black hole, this isn't a character statement. Like, Kenjaku saying a black hole is a character statement. He can be fallible, he can be interpreted, he can be wrong or whatever. This down below is a direct author statement or narrator statement or book statement, whatever you want to say. Like, this isn't a character saying it. It's the series itself stating information for the viewer. It's no different from when the narrator or the series states, oh, Sukuna, the strongest of, you know, on all of history versus the strongest of today. Like, that's not an interpretable statement. That's just a direct, you know, fact of the world at that point. So when we see, right, the actual series itself state, you know, a black hole possesses extreme density, immense gravity, nothing can escape light, you know, not even light. In terms of density, imagine the Earth shrunk into a diameter of 2 centimeters, right? That's the description we get for how much mass, how much density is being generated by this black hole. It's if the Earth was shrunk down to 2 centimeters of diameter, right? That's how much she's generating by doing this. I don't have the Google popped up, but basically what I did is I just took this, I just literally just asked in terms of density, or not in density, but I just Googled literally what would the Earth's gravity be if its diameter was 2 centimeters, and then you get this, right? The reason why I'm asking ChatGPT is because when I type this into Google, it gave me this diagram as like a little fraction, but for some reason the font would not allow me to copy and paste it into my browser, so I just had to ask ChatGPT or whatever. The only difference between ChatGPT and Google, if you Google this question, you're going to get 3.99 x 10 to the 18th power and then all this bullshit, but ChatGPT give me 4, right? So it's like 0.001% difference. It's literally the same thing, right? Just if anybody's going to fucking nitpick me and say, oh, ChatGPT, you're using AI, it's like, no, you can literally Google the exact same question. Literally just, oh, something fell over on my desk. You can literally just Google this question, just what would the Earth's gravity be if its diameter is 2 centimeters, right? And you'll get this exact thing. But basically then I asked it if a person weighed 180 pounds, right, how much force would be placed upon them, and that's just simulating what Kenjaku weighs here. I don't think he has an exact stated weight, but I'm just assuming, you know, general average male, like 180s or whatever, like, okay, right, so 180 pounds for him, and you'd get about this much force, right? Which is a really big number. I think it's 73 quintillion or something like that, because you get, what, 100,000, right? This is million, this is billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, right? So 73 quintillion pounds of force. Pretty big. It's a very big number. But I haven't gotten into this. You see chapter 75. If anybody knows, ooh, I just spoiled it right there. If anybody knows what chapter this is, you're going to start to realize that this number doesn't really matter, okay? The amount of force that Yuki is generating from this black hole doesn't really matter, okay? It can be this number times 500,000, and it wouldn't compare to what Gojo's doing with the hollow purple. So I guess I already showed the panel. I guess I'll just go right here and show it. So this is the chapter where Gojo kills Toji, right? And it's just stated very clearly, very succinctly on the panel, right? Motion and reversal. It's born by colliding both infinities. An imaginary mass rushes forth, right? And it's talking about the hollow purple. So this, I don't know if I have to explain this super much. I mean, if you read, you can literally see born by colliding both infinities. The way Gojo's technique works is he's able to manipulate the concepts of space, distance, movement, things like that, right? So he has blue and then he has red. He's able to take those two properties, those two concepts of motion, right? And he's able to manipulate them to an infinite extent. That's why he's able to create the barrier that, you know, just literally infinitely removes movement, pretty much. Like, you can't ever get past him, right? You can't ever reach Gojo, because there's always that infinite distance being created between you and him. You know, it's also why in his domain, his whole thing is, you know, he'd flood your brain with infinite information, right? Like, if you took the word apple, you get the letter A repeating infinitely, you get the word P, the letter P, you know, repeating infinitely, and so on until you get the word apple, and then it would continue out through all the information in the universe, infinitely, you know, repeating until your brain explodes or whatever. It's his whole technique. It's just infinity. I don't think I have to really, you know, explain that too deeply. If you've seen the series, you know. So yeah, you take these two properties of motion and you manipulate them to an infinite extent, right? That's why you have both infinities, and you combine them. So you're taking something beyond two separate infinities, you are combining them into something beyond the both, called imaginary mass, right? And the reason why the term imaginary mass is kind of impressive here is, you know, it is a bit undefined. It's literally imaginary. It's a made-up concept, but the whole reason it's being compared to two separate infinities being combined, right? So, like, normally, right, you'd say, oh, well, you can't combine infinity, just like how you can't combine zero, right? Zero is zero, just like how infinity is infinity, right? And funnily enough, a person later down in this thread will make that same argument to me, and it's like, yeah, you're right, in a mathematical sense, you can't combine those two concepts, but that's what makes this so impressive. That's why when Gojo does this, it should be impossible, but he does it. Therefore, there's no real name for it, there's no real quantification for it. It is just an imaginary mass, right? So that's where that name comes from. It's pretty, I don't know, it's not super complex. I mean, if you understand what he's doing with his ability, then, you know, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? He's combining two infinities to create imaginary mass, and then you combine that to Yuki, or not combine that, you compare that to Yuki, who is not generating infinite anything, right? This calculation, this quantification here is not infinite. I showed this earlier, but I'll bring this up because there is an escalating scale argument going on in JJK. So this isn't the exact chapter, but it's chapter 225-ish or 220-ish or whatever when we see Gojo versus Sukuna, okay? So we start off in chapter 208. We see the non-infinite black hole. Very impressive, but it's still not infinite. Then chapter 219, this is Yorozu. Sukuna states, a perfect sphere. She generates a perfect sphere. A true sphere is thought to be impossible. It has no contact area, so it generates infinite pressure. This is using infinite language. It's just explicitly stated this, it generates infinite pressure. Just like how with the hollow purple, it's explicitly stated it's beyond both infinities, okay? Meanwhile, for Yuki, there is no such statement. The only statement we get as to quantify it would be this, which is not infinite, okay? So she starts off first with, sadly, the weakest feat. Then we see this, which is an infinite feat. And then later we see the full extent of hollow purple, which is beyond two infinities, right? Very basic scaling. It's just like how in Dragon Ball you start off at Namek, you see Super Saiyan 1, Saiyan Saga you see Super Saiyan 2, and then Boost Saga you see Super Saiyan 3. It's just an escalating scale. It's very simple, okay? So that's like the baseline just argument, I guess. Let's check out the recording real quick. 11 minutes so far, making decent time. Both other times that I've recorded this video, it's been over almost 2 hours long, so making decent time. So yeah, that's just the basic breakdown, basic scaling for the whole topic, right? Gojo's hollow purple is beyond two infinities, you know, which means it's extremely more potent, it's literally infinitely more potent than this finite attack. That's how infinity works, right? And then this attack would also be infinitely more potent, because it's truly infinite, whereas this is not truly infinite, and hollow purple is beyond two truly infinites, right? So, and it's not even just like two infinities, it's beyond the concept of infinity, and it's creating imaginary mass, right? Okay, let's take a sip of my drink. Okay. So, yeah, this person, I was responding to the literal black hole claim, and then that went to all my scaling, so I don't think there's really much else to explain there. Ain't nothing Gojo gonna do if she does that, as in summoning the black hole. Well, as I just described, the hollow purple is extremely more potent, much more powerful. It would unironically like beam clash with the black hole and just destroy it. Also, if Yuki ever summons the black hole, she has to die, so it doesn't really matter. This person says Gojo's just going to float in space if the world as the world collapses. Well, like I just described, if Yuki collapses the world, then she dies. I brought this up in the previous recording, I guess I'll say it again. If Gojo actually did just get dropped into space, people think that he would just, float around or die. But the prison realm, right, he's able to survive in the prison realm for weeks upon months. And I don't see any reason to believe why the prison realm would have oxygen, right? Unless the only two paths you can take for that being true, saying the prison realm has oxygen, is saying either one, when the prison realm first opened, a little bit of oxygen, like sucked into the box and then it got sealed, or two, you have to say that Kenjaku is intermittently putting oxygen in the box or something to keep Gojo alive. Both of which, the first example maybe is true, I could see some air getting sucked into the box, but Kenjaku helping Gojo, giving him air, no, right? So Gojo's in this box, this sealed off realm, where time doesn't even flow. So if time's not even able to flow, I don't see why oxygen would be able to exist or perspirate or whatever, right? But let's say that he has a little bit of oxygen from the box opening up in the first place. He's able to survive off of that for weeks, right? So even if he does get sucked into space, he wouldn't really care. It wouldn't really matter for a while, whereas Yuki would just be dead off rip. So I don't see how people think that's a good point. Just like how I don't see how almost 1,000 people think this is a good point. I guess I didn't touch on the city level stuff for this guy's first comment. I mean, I don't think I really have to, because I just described how this is a beyond infinite potency attack. I mean, the city is a finite thing. It has a finite level of durability, finite level of area or whatever. If Gojo wanted to, he could just let this hollow purple go off at full power, and it would literally be a beyond infinite potency attack. It would destroy everything on the planet. I think that's literally what's being described here, right? If this non-infinite attack, so it's a finite attack from Yuki, if that can destroy the planet, then, it's stated here it can destroy the planet. If this finite attack from Yuki, non-infinite attack, can destroy the planet, then an attack born from combining two infinities would obviously be able to do the same thing, okay? Duh. So yeah, I guess I don't know how much I need to really reinforce this. There's also the topic of attack potency versus destructive capability, right? So you can have the potency to damage something that has the durability of a planet, but then maybe your attack doesn't have the range or AoE to actually damage something or destroy something as large as a planet. Because obviously you could damage the thing, but destroying it in its entirety doesn't really make sense for certain things. Like let's say you had a character, not like Dragon Ball where your attacks have AoE, but let's just say a normal human being. His name is Bob. Bob punches the ground, okay? His fist is not going to have the destructive capability to damage the entire planet or destroy the entire planet. He doesn't have the range, he doesn't have the AoE. But let's say Bob has the power to punch with the force of a planet, right? Anything that he directly hits with his punch would just be destroyed. But like I just described, he doesn't have the range or the AoE to completely destroy something of, the size of a planet. That's pretty much what's happening with Hollow Purple for the most part. Hypothetically, Gojo could just increase its size to destroy something of that, size completely. But the whole discussion is it's mainly his power level, like how much he can actually damage something, like how hard he hits, right? And it's not just city level, dude. His attack is beyond infinite potency, and that's what's being described in the manga when it says all this text, right? In the same sense that this true sphere generates infinite pressure. You would never say that's just city level. You would never say that's just building level or whatever. It's beyond infinite potency, okay? Or I'm sorry, this one is infinite potency. Hollow Purple is beyond infinite potency. And then unfortunately for Yuki, this is not infinite potency, as we can describe here, right? Okay. Okay. I respond to this first guy, and I say that the way that you just responded shows that you don't understand the topic. Gojo not being able to survive if the planet explodes doesn't mean that Yuki is stronger, it just means that Gojo can't breathe in space, which like I just described with the prison realm, that's debatable. The point that I'm getting at is that his jutsu is above Yuki, that's why he's the strongest. Hollow Purple would do more damage than Yuki's black hole if he wanted it to. The entire reason Yuki didn't destroy Earth was because she contained the power of her attack, which that's directly stated, right? She contained it with her willpower, right? which I saw like a YouTube short. It was about like Green Lantern today, and it made me think about this topic because the one guy training Green Lantern, he's like, your constructs are only going to be as strong as your will, you know. And a lot throughout this thread, I bring up how Gojo has the ability to just amp, you know, and control his power or weaken his power depending on his will. Like he controls his power. Like that's how most things in fiction work, you know. Like if you control your power, if you put more into it or if you put less into it, it'll be less potent or more potent, right? Like that's just how it works in fiction. It's a very basic idea. So when people see, I don't have the Shinjuku chapters pulled up. Maybe I should pull it up, but I'll just use this as an example. When people see Gojo shoot this beyond infinite potency attack at Toji, and it just destroys some of the wall, people genuinely think that's just because he's wall level. They don't understand that he's just choosing to destroy that much. They can't comprehend that. They can't comprehend how Gojo simply willed his attack to not do further damage than this, right? People in this thread literally tell me it's because he's wall level. Like, when it's directly stated in another chapter that other characters use their willpower to suppress their attacks. Like, I don't even know why you'd need a direct statement for that. It's just obvious. It's obvious. If you've seen any other fiction, any other anime, it's obvious that's what's happening. So, I guess I'll just continue to read what I was saying. I don't really know where I was. The entire reason Yuki didn't destroy the Earth was because she contained the power. Gojo does the same thing whenever he uses Hollow Purple. The series lays it out for you. I don't know why you Yuki tards feel the need to just ignore what's on the paper you're reading. At the end of the day, you literally don't have an argument. You're just denying the words in the story, which is true. I don't have the statements pulled up right now because honestly, I just need these 3 chapters. I don't need any more to make this argument. But if you've seen the series, if you've read the manga, you know that Gojo is stated to be the strongest a dozen different times, right? Character statements say it, like his students call him the strongest. He's recognized as the strongest by the Jujutsu Society, and the narrator / author also makes statements saying he's the strongest. I know Gege has for sure told the viewers in like interviews or whatever that Gojo's the strongest. I'm thinking right now of the one character fan popularity poll or whatever where it says that Yuta is second strongest only to Gojo, right? And then when Sukuna fights Gojo, it's stated that they're the strongest of their respective eras. Like, in just all formats, Gojo is just universally recognized as being the strongest, right? So I don't see how people can really engage with that otherwise, right? Like, I don't know why people feel the need to just deny the story. Like, people genuinely think that he's city level and that she's planetary, but he's the strongest. They can't make sense of that. It's unbelievable to me. I respond to the guy again. I say, Gojo is city level. Can you explain the difference between attack potency and destructive capacity, low tier? Yep. I was talking about that earlier, right? Like, Gojo could have the potency to damage something that has the durability of a planet, but maybe he doesn't have the destructive capacity to destroy something of that entire size, right? That's just what I'm describing. Although I wouldn't say it's impossible for him to do so. I would just say he's never been presented with a reason to do so, right? Gojo's not a villain. Gojo's not evil. He doesn't have a reason to try and destroy the entire fucking planet, right? So I don't see why we need to see him do that to have that be true, especially when we get direct statements stating how strong the ability is. It's beyond infinite potency, alright? Like, Jesus. Yeah, it's so bizarre. You definitely only consume JJK through social media, right? Because I respond, I say that, you know, people see the manga and they see him only destroying buildings, yet they don't assume it's because he's restricting his power. It's like, yeah, how do you not make that assumption? How do you not just understand that he's restricting his power? It's not like it's verbatim stated that that's what Yuki was doing. Why is it impossible for Gojo to do so? Like, and it's not even, because there's multiple ways you could look at it. You could say he's either restricting his power through his will, as in like his brain, right? Or you could say that he's restricting his power in the sense that he's utilizing his curse technique, Infinity, to control the velocity, the range, the scale of his attacks, because that's what he does. He controls the properties of motion to an infinite extent. So when he chooses to have his Hollow Purple go past Toji only this far, it's either because he's just choosing via his willpower to just weaken the attack to only do this much damage, or he's using his curse technique to control the range of the technique to where it only goes so far. That's literally how his ability works. But people just can't understand that. They don't read the fucking series. They don't watch the anime. So, I don't know. This person, D4, they respond and say, Purple can erase anything, so he's technically not city level. That's kind of what I was getting at of the attack potency claim, but this person isn't really understanding my entire point, right? Like, and I respond, I say, if Gojo shot Purple at Earth's core with the intention to destroy it, then the Earth would explode. He can break apart the planet beyond its gravitational binding energy. So that's just one way I think Gojo could do it. I don't think he could make a fucking hollow purple the size of the planet and erase everything, but he could just destroy the core and just erase everything, right? Just break apart the planet, destroy the surface, right? Fragment it, cause massive tsunamis, or he could effectively destroy the entire planet. In terms of like a destructive scale, right? If you want like potency, like, oh, how hard can he hit? I mean, I've already described that he is beyond infinite potency with this attack, so. This person responds, says, what Kenjaku feared is void because Kenny can't handle domain for too long, blah, 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 blah. He also, yeah, this is a nonsense, nothing. Every time I get to this comment, because like I've said, I've tried to make this video 3 times. Every time I get to this comment, I just kind of skip past it. I don't really know what he was saying. I respond to the D4 guy again. I say, also, Yuki's black hole is made through infinite mass. I don't know if I've addressed this yet, but when I was first making these comments, I was under the impression that Yuki was creating infinite mass with her black hole, based on how black holes work in our real world. But like I've described so far in this video, there is no infinite statement. I mean, I guess I'll click through this chapter real quick because maybe people think I'm lying. I'd also recommend you just go read the chapter for yourself. You can see the site I'm using. It's very easy, very free. You know, there's no infinite statement that I can see anywhere, right? And then the actual, you know, like maybe this, I guess, if there's no limit, but there is a limit because she dies eventually, right? And then we get this here, which this is the only actual quantification we have. So yeah, I don't know, but I'll just let it work. I'll just let it go. I'm not going to spend, because in the second recording that I made, every time I said the infinite mass thing in my comment, I spent like 3 minutes explaining this. So I'll explain it once. I already just did that. I think I'll leave it as that for now, right? There's no infinite statement for Yuki's black hole, so there's no reason to say that she has infinite mass. But I guess I'll also steal man and say that even if she did have infinite mass, even if Kenjaku's like, infinite mass, a black hole, and then this was like, yes, a black hole has infinite density, if that was literally what was stated, it still would be less impressive. Because first, alright, sure, this can have infinite mass. How does that compare to infinite pressure? Right? It has to contend with the true sphere first, and like I gave the argument for before, there's the escalating scale argument, okay? If the wording alone for this isn't enough for you to understand that it's beyond just one infinite pressure or just beyond infinite mass, it's beyond 2 separate infinities, if this wording isn't enough for you, the escalating scale argument of how this appears first, this appears second, and then Gojo's hollow purple against Sukuna appears last, that will also just prove that it's obviously a stronger technique. That's why it's presented last in the story. And that's also why the wording for it is obviously much more impressive, much more complex, much more powerful and potent than any of these 2 attacks. Okay. So I say that's just what a black hole is, and Gojo's hollow purple is made by combining 2 infinities, push and pull, to create something beyond both of them. Imaginary mass. That's what the hollow purple is. Something beyond 2 infinities. Meanwhile, Yuki's best move is born from 1 infinity. So genuinely, Gojo's hollow purple is just stronger than Yuki's black hole. People gotta pay attention to the words. I haven't brought this point up yet, but it's just sad to me. It kind of irritates me how I get like 9 likes on this comment, you know, but then this person over here, I guess I did get 500 on this one, so a few people understand what I'm saying. But dude, this person over here got almost 1,000 likes, and they literally open off by saying Gojo is city level, dude. It's so dumb. So many idiots. How many of these 66 or 67, 67 almost, Jesus. How many of these 67,000 people genuinely believe that Gojo is just city level? Like, they can't do the thought process in their mind to differentiate between attack potency, destructive capability, or capacity. They also can't interpret that Gojo could possibly just destroy the entire planet anyway if he felt like it. There's just no thought. It's just actually like hive mind drone mentality. It's so fucking stupid, man. Oh my god. And like, it's not even about the likes. Like, oh, you're mad about Instagram likes. Like, dude, I've gotten random comments that have, I just linked my following list, maybe. I know that's the people who liked it. Okay. But I've gotten random Instagram comments where I've gotten like 50,000 likes just by posting GIFs or like memes. Like, Instagram comments Instagram likes don't matter. It's just the reason why it sticks out to me, the reason why it annoys me is because it just represents how many people agree with this thinking. Like, really, so many thousands upon thousands of people genuinely think that Gojo is just city level. Meanwhile, the series explicitly states it and writes it out for you a dozen different times that he has beyond infinite potency with his attacks. Like, oh, okay. Let's try to get through these. Let's try to get through these comments. Where was I? Oh, okay. I guess, yeah. So this person, I responded to this person down here. Nothing you said addresses any of my points. Sukuna is stronger than Gojo, so him taking Hollow Purple means nothing for Yuki. Gojo getting a buff doesn't change anything. My point is that he's the strongest in the verse, stated a dozen times. His Hollow Purple is made from combining 2 infinities. Yuki's black hole only uses 1 infinity, which is infinite mass, which I already described how that's not the case. This is not infinite, right? Whatever. This is not infinite, right? Okay, got that. Compared to Gojo's infinite push and pull being fused to create infinite mass, what Gojo is doing is much more complex than Yuki. It's almost like he's stated the strongest for a reason. True. We're going to skip past these guys because they're not responding to me and I only care about myself, okay? The guy responds again, the Arun Shin guy responds to that last statement that I made. He says that 1 infinite mass hold more destructive power than Hollow Purple. He doesn't say Hollow Purple, he says Hollow, but I know what he means. So I don't know if he's actually tapping into what I'm saying, right? If he means like DC, destructive capability versus attack potency. I don't know if that's what he's saying when he says destructive power, but that's me being charitable. I'm not going to be charitable and try to actually give this guy a faithful interpretation. I'm just going to take what he says at face value, like everybody else takes what I say at face value. So destructive power, that's just not true, right? This has beyond infinite potency, beyond infinite destructive power. That's just not true for what Yuki's doing. There's no way to prove that what she's doing is infinite. There's no way to prove it has infinite potency or anything. These two, like the True Sphere, just directly stated to be infinite, right? Hollow Purple directly stated to be beyond 2 infinites. Yuki's black hole is not, so wrong. Yuki 1 infinite mass hold peak force. Ooh, peak force. If it launch, you can't block that shit. Well, Gojo can block it because he has a beyond infinite potency barrier that he can use. Yeah, you can't block that shit. Hollow Purple erase matters by pull and push. No, it's not just push and pull. It's not just pull and push. It's not just utilizing motion and reversal. It's taking motion and reversal, and it's combining those 2 properties to create imaginary mass, right? It's not just taking those 2 properties. So this guy has a really archaic or just stunted understanding of what's happening, right? But Yuki creates literally infinite mass of black hole. Literally infinite is just not true. Well, Hollow Purple is just imaginary mass. Yeah, just imaginary mass, buddy. What does that mean to you? Just imaginary mass, right? Imaginary mass is beyond two infinities. Just objectively, that's what's stated. So clearly demonstrating that he just doesn't understand what the fuck is happening. I don't know. Like, so many of these comments I feel like are from third world, just mud stomping immigrant people. No offense, but it's like, dude, these people are not. There's no way you're an American citizen. You have a, like a background in like English. You went to high school and everything, and then you read these chapters and you genuinely say this shit. There's no fucking way. I can't believe it, dude. Like, you can't be one of us. You can't be like me. I just don't believe it. Your statement, Gojo needs Hollow to destroy Earth. Half of this shit's like broken English. I don't even know what the fuck he's trying to say. Yuki can do it more freely without need of Earth core. Yeah, so he's trying to nitpick what I'm saying, which I don't know. Like, I try to explain things in a very basic way for people to understand. I thought the wording of me saying that he would destroy the core would make sense to people, because I know when I say he could destroy the planet, they might say, oh, well, Hollow Purple's too small. Hollow Purple's not big enough to destroy a planet. It doesn't matter about the potency, it's just how big it is. So, okay, well, that's why I said they would target the core, right? But now this guy's using that argument as a way to, like, nitpick what I'm saying and say that it's actually a point against Gojo, because apparently Yuki can destroy it without needing to destroy the Earth's core, which is like, dude, Gojo doesn't even need to use the Earth's core. That was just a way that he could do it. That was just a possible explanation for a way he could do it, so that it would make more sense to you retards. But apparently that was just, too hard for him to grasp, right? So-called strongest got his ass beaten by Toji and Sukuna. Okay, well, he kills Toji, right? Kills Toji, and Sukuna, a lot of people don't like this, but I made, I think, 2 different videos on my channel talking about Sukuna. Sukuna is just the strongest, alright? He kills Gojo outright. He is stronger than Gojo. I don't have the chapters pulled up, but for his Shinjuku fight with Gojo, the fight opens up with basically Sukuna about to get Toji'd, right? Gojo shoots 200% Hollow Purple at Sukuna, and then Sukuna catches it with both hands and only loses arms, right? He loses 2 of his arms, but he stops Gojo's 200% Hollow Purple. It's because he's stronger than Gojo. So I don't really know why bringing up Sukuna is relevant, but I mean, yeah, he got his ass beaten by Toji when he was super drained after 3 days of being on constant alert. Once again, it doesn't really make any sense. Like, this is just showing me that you didn't comprehend the series or didn't really read it. Strongest doesn't lose, as you know. Nice English, by the way, but strongest doesn't lose. Well, everybody that you said here that apparently beat up Gojo also loses, right? So what does that mean, right? Is this guy saying that the strongest isn't actually a real concept in Jujutsu Kaisen? Because everybody that holds the title of the strongest loses at one point or another. So what is this guy talking about? Yuki is technically not even a sorcerer. Yeah, good job, bro. Amazing. We're gonna move past this guy's comment. Let's take a sip of this drink. Again, no, mate. Gojo is country level at max. Gojo simply does not have the means to destroy a planet, nor does he have means to beat a true planet buster. Let's address this first part. So it doesn't have to, actually, no, we'll address the first line. Gojo being country level, that's just a vague, random, arbitrary place to place him. I understand why people say he's like city level. I understand why you can say he's wall level, because there's literally you can misinterpret manga panels and basically just be a retard and say, oh, he destroyed a wall, I guess that means he's wall level, right? Oh, he destroyed a building, I guess that means he's building level, right? You could do that, sure. Where do you get country level from? Where did Gojo ever destroy a country? Like, that's just, what a random place to put him at. But then he says Gojo simply does not have the means to destroy a planet. Well, this says otherwise, though. This is beyond infinite potency, right? So, guess what? Also, this is not infinite potency. This is not infinite mass. This is not infinite pressure, right? So these attacks have the potential to destroy the planet. But Yuki's, I don't know. Like, I mean, it is directly stated that she can, but you get my point. It's just not comparable, This one is not infinite. There's no infinite statement. I don't know how much I have to really drill into these 3 panels. I don't know, right? So I guess he says Gojo doesn't have the means to beat a true planet buster. The example I gave in the previous recording was Saiyan Saga Goku, right? Saiyan Saga Goku is a true planet buster. You can destroy Earth, many times over. But Gojo would beat that guy, right? Goku cannot get through Gojo's barrier. Goku cannot survive a hollow purple. Goku cannot withstand unlimited void. So yeah, Gojo has everything he needs to have to beat a true planet buster, like Son Goku in the Saiyan Saga, right? I don't know why he says that he can't beat a true planet buster. And on that note, Yuki is not a planet buster. It's directly stated that she is, though, right? She can destroy the planet. But his reasoning for saying that she's not is because she has to kill herself to do so, right? She has to completely sacrifice herself. But that's also true for Saiyan Saga Goku, right? Goku can destroy the Earth, but if he did so, he would die, alright? So, point being, if you haven't guessed already by this little monologue, this guy, just like every other comment, is completely fucking brain dead. They can't comprehend what they're talking about. The standards that they're setting, the points that they're making don't make sense, they're inconsistent, they don't apply. It's just nonsense. It's just completely thoughtless garbage, dude. That's my problem with the JJK community, is that it's just full of just idiotic fucking morons who have no clue what the hell's going on. It's insane to me. This guy responds again. He says, Gojo's hollow purple has a max distance that it dissipates over. It is not reaching Earth's core. It's like, okay, is this hollow purple's max distance is from wherever Gojo is here to here? Is it like 40 feet? Or is it like what I was saying earlier with how Gojo has the willpower to control how far his attacks go? Or he has the ability to manipulate it with his curse technique to control its distance and velocity. Is that the case, or is it just the case that it has a max distance that it dissipates over? Which, that's never stated, by the way, right? It's never stated that there's a max distance. The only thing that's ever implied, because there is no statement for the distance, like I just said, the only thing that's ever implied is that Gojo can just control its distance with his willpower, just like how Yuki controlled the black hole with her willpower. Very basic. Just like how Guy Gardner in the, in DC, like his constructs are also applied to his willpower, right? If he has stronger will, the constructs are going to be stronger. It's just a basic concept in all of fiction, right? If your willpower is strong enough, your attack will do more. If you choose not to will your, influence or whatever into the attack, then it does less, right? Like whatever. Very basic. This guy has the Kenjaku Faultless PFP, so I'm sure this is going to be good. He says when it comes to performance, Gojo is stronger. His domain is guaranteed victory. He can stop Yuji anytime. Another person misspells Yuki as Yuji. Awesome. So I respond to this guy. That's a running theme. Is I respond to all these comments in text, but I also am going to get my just thoughts on them in the video. So we're going to probably hear a lot of the same stuff twice, but it's whatever. So my response to this is obviously that it's not just his domain. Like, yeah, obviously Gojo has a better domain, but it's also the fact that his Jujutsu ability is much better than Yuki, okay? Hollow Purple is a divine technique compared to whatever she's doing. Like, the black hole is cool or whatever, but this is like some Blackwater, half-assed bullshit, rudimentary technique compared to this shit literally being like divine grace from God, okay? The Hollow Purple is too it's such an incredibly potent technique. I don't know, like there's no other real words for it. It's beyond infinity. It's beyond two separate infinities. It's unbelievable how strong it is. It's so powerful and potent that it's literally an imaginary thing. You can't quantify it. Like, you know? Okay. I respond to the Ningen guy up here, the black guy, the black PFP, and I respond to him. I say, everything you typed out's wrong. Yuki's not a planet buster in quotes, but she literally creates a black hole by manipulating infinite mass. True. That's just what a black hole is, and once again, I'm stating this in reference to our world. After looking over the manga, again, it's clear that there's no infinite statement for Yuki. However, there's an infinite statement for Yorozu, an infinite statement for Gojo, no infinite statement for Yuki, so she does not get the infinite mass as well. That's just not in the manga. However, we can steelman, we can give Yuki a little bit of a buff and say that she does have infinite mass, and guess what? It doesn't matter. She has one infinite, just like how this has one infinite. It's not comparable to something beyond the concept of infinity in imaginary mass. Okay, cool. Gojo's hollow purple is made by combining two separate infinities to form imaginary mass. That attack is literally infinitely more complex than what Yuki's doing. Sounds to me like you didn't read the manga and you want to argue about it. Big facts. Then I respond to his other claim about the max distance. I say max distance that it dissipates over. Yeah, buddy, that's called power suppression. Gojo's entire ability revolves around manipulating space to an infinite degree, yet you think it's weird that he can control how far his attacks go and how much damage they cause to the surroundings. Question mark. It's basic as hell, man. I don't know why so many people don't understand it. Anything Gojo does is because he decides to do it. When Gojo first combines two separate infinities to create Hollow Purple versus Toji, and it only broke through a few walls, doesn't mean Gojo's only wall level. Gojo chose to limit its range and destructive capacity so that he didn't destroy everything around him. Did you graduate middle school? Which, true, I don't know how you can graduate middle school and see this panel and think, I guess that's just how strong the attack is. I guess, yeah, the beyond infinite potency, I guess it's only wall level, yeah. It's like, what if that's just how far Gojo wanted the attack to travel? What if that's just how much damage he wanted the attack to cause? You know? You ever think about that one? I don't know. Is that impossible? Okay. Who's this guy? Oh yeah, the Kenjaku PFP. Okay. I say it's not just domain over performance. What do you guys think the Hollow Purple is? I swear to God, so many fucking people just turn their brains off and glaze over what's happening in the story, bro. I was pissed when I was writing this. The Hollow Purple is made by Gojo combining two infinities into something beyond them both, called imaginary mass. Yuki's black hole is made by her manipulating infinite mass, one infinity. Go back to Gojo, who is manipulating two infinities, and then using something beyond both of them. I might have said infinite mass. This is imaginary mass. You know, you guys can read, but if I misspeak, you know, you can read, you can see what I'm saying, right? Go back to Gojo, who's manipulating two infinities and using something beyond the both of them. That's what Hollow Purple is. The series lays it out for you verbatim, says the shit verbatim, right? And people just don't listen. It's so annoying to engage with. Yuki's singular infinity could never be greater than Gojo's imaginary mass, which is comprised of multiple infinities. Yeah. And then this moron, this mollusk, okay, this seashell wearing invertebrate says, what you're trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say, bro. What do you think I'm trying to say? Okay, I've given multiple 400 paragraph long dissertations about this topic in this thread by now, and this person really doesn't understand what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'm trying to say that Gojo is the strongest sorcerer, so if Yuki is not the strongest sorcerer, and she can destroy a planet, that means Gojo can too. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say, buddy. I don't know if I made it obvious enough of everything that I've typed out. This person just responds black hole. It's like, alright, bro. And I think I responded to this person because there's no at, right? So I say Yuki is a litmus test for sub 50 IQ humans. She makes her black hole by manipulating infinite mass, that's one infinity. Gojo makes Hollow Purple by combining two infinities, push and pull to create imaginary mass. The Hollow Purple is much more complex than what Yuki does. And then this mollusk, okay, this invertebrate, this mudwalker, this immigrant, he says source bro? Source bro? Source bro? Oh, sorry. Source bro? Source? Source? Source, anybody? Source? Does anybody know where I'm getting this information from? Source? Source bro? Source? Anybody? Source? Dude, This guy genuinely needs to kill himself, alright? I don't want to see anyone else like this person alive ever again. Alright, the analogy that I made with the first recording, alright, it was like 4:30 in the morning when I made that, so when I first was responding to that, I was pretty heated. I'm a little bit agitated now, but I'm kind of calm. But the analogy I made for this, it's like when you're watching like a cop slap video or like a body cam footage video on YouTube, and you watch somebody get pulled over for like a minor traffic infraction, and, you know, in a matter of moments, they go from like a small ticket to like being locked away in jail for the rest of their life. That's how I would respond to this person, bro. Like, you can only think to yourself, like, oh, how did this person act that way? How did that person throw away their life over something kind of like mundane? Like, why didn't they just like relax? It's like, that's only a thought that you can have when you're not in the state of mind that this type of interaction puts you in, okay? When somebody is this level of annoying or stupid or just unaware or just fucking, like, just, oh my god, when this happens, bro, it's like, dude, no wonder people lose their fucking minds. No wonder people crash out, dude. I don't know how you can possibly look at all of this information that I've spent my time producing and then say, source, bro? Like, genuinely, dog, you are a bottom feeder. We're at 45 minutes so far. Not bad. Alright. This person just says he is amazing. This person down here is annoying. I remember looking at this last night. So, this person says infinity isn't a normal number that you can stack like 2 plus 2. That's not what's being stated here. Nobody's talking about the literal mathematical concept of infinity, okay? Right? What they're saying here is true in a mathematical sense, alright? Like infinity plus infinity is still infinity, just like how 0 plus 0 is still 0. That's true in a mathematical sense, but that's why this is so important or so powerful or such a big deal, because he's taking a concept that should be impossible, right? Combining 2 infinities, and he's making it a thing, right? That's why it shouldn't theoretically be possible. That's why it's imaginary. Do you get it? Do you understand? Like, this person's almost there. They're like knocking on the door of like why Gojo's so powerful. He's taking this idea that should be impossible. Okay, and true infinity should already be impossible, but then to take another infinity and combine it, it shouldn't. Like, you're right. It should just be infinity, but it's not though. It creates something more potent. That's why this is such a big deal, okay? So I'm gonna skip past this because this person's not understanding the actual like they kind of are like they're like, why this doesn't make sense, but it's like, yeah, that's why this is so powerful. It's because this whole idea combining 2 infinities doesn't make sense. That's why it's imaginary, right? So, you know, maybe one day they're gonna understand the manga. Oh my god. Black holes are more than city level, nigga. This is more than city level. You bottom feeder. You idiot. Jesus. We saw 200% Hollow Purple not even wipe out Shinjuku and the Hollow Nuke. So he's talking about the first Hollow Purple and the last one. Those are Gojo's full output Hollow Purples. The 200% ones are being boosted beyond its normal ability by the other's technique, so it's not doing more than a literal black hole. Once again, literal black hole. This is just not a literal black hole. Gojo, unless... Oh wait, sorry. Yuki can't beat Gojo unless she takes her own life. True. Gojo would win if Yuki doesn't take her life. Irrelevant. I don't feel like reading all this bullshit. The main thing to take away from this, right, is that he's talking about how Gojo's at beyond full power. He's at 200% or whatever, right? But it doesn't destroy the entire Shinjuku. It doesn't destroy all of the city. I've already described why that doesn't matter, okay? You can have attack potency and destructive capability. Those can be separate things. You can have the potency to destroy an entire planet, but not have the capacity to, destroy something of that size. Another example I like to bring up is how Super Saiyan 2 Gohan versus Cell in the DBC Cell saga, right? He goes full power, and yet he only destroys dirt, right? If you remember that scene. He only destroys dirt in the ground. He only destroys a crater. He makes like a crater in the ground. So he's like dirt level or whatever, going by this guy's logic. And going by everybody else's logic in here, right? Because, oh, Gojo destroyed something, therefore that's his limit, right? He destroyed a city, therefore that's his limit. He destroyed a building, therefore that's his limit. Well, if we apply that same logic to any other verse, it becomes very, very, very stupid very, very quickly. You start to understand why that doesn't really make sense. You start to understand why my point about, potency, destructive capability, or the point about how Gojo can simply will his attack to do less damage to the surroundings, you start to understand why that's just like common sense and just inherently true, rather than being a moron and saying, oh, well, he was at his full power, so how could it not wipe out all of the stuff, Maybe you'll start to actually understand if you think like me. Yeah, Gojo adding push and pull together, which is not matter, erasure, or infinite, or infinities. Dude, it's literally stated. Like, this is the shit that I'm talking about, bro. Like, earlier with this comment, alright, this comment up here that made me talk about how I want to, like, crash out and, like, kill somebody almost, right? This is the shit that I'm talking about, dude. I am literally repeating what is verbatim stated on the fucking manga panels, and people just ignore it. They just literally ignore it, dude. They just don't engage with it. They just flat out deny it. Nor infinities, it's literally stated to be so. Like, this person needs to kill himself. I hate people who are this on their face fucking annoyingly, obnoxiously wrong, and they want to argue about it as if they are understanding. It's so ridiculous, dude. They need to be publicly mocked and shamed and humiliated, bro. It's so irritating. I cannot, oh my god, dude. It's so dumb. So I respond to that guy. I say, we saw Gojo's Hollow Purple not even wipe out Shinjuku. How hard is it for you retards to understand that Gojo restricted the power of his attacks to not destroy everything around him? You're such a thoughtless low-tier bum. Is JJK your first anime ever? Have you ever even seen any other anime, any other fiction? Power suppression is a basic idea. Gojo's entire power set is based on him manipulating space infinitely to create an impassable barrier, yet you think it's impossible for him to restrict the explosions of his attacks. Yuki literally does the same thing of her black hole. True, it's literally stated that she controls it with her willpower, right? So Yuki does literally the same thing of her black hole. She restricts its damage with her willpower. Gojo can do the same thing, you dumbass. That's why he's the strongest sorcerer. Big facts. Very true. Yeah, this J Black Millionaire guy's pretty smart. You have zero clue what a black hole is. True, I don't know if I read that part out, but yeah, he says, I have zero clue what a black hole is. Meanwhile, every single time that I mention the black hole, I either talk about the real world concept, which is why I say it has infinite mass, or I literally am talking about these panels here, where I'm saying that, oh, she's able to suppress it. Like, I'm giving you direct verbatim statements from the chapter that the black hole's used, yet the fucker wants to tell me that I don't know what it is. Like, unbelievable, dude. Unbelievably just, you're so dumb, dude. I hate this person, bro. I hate these people. I hate just the lack of awareness, dude. If there's anything that annoys the fuck out of me is when people are just unaware of their surroundings. They're unaware of what's going on. They can't read the room. They're not tapped into the conversation. It's so annoying to me. Holy fuck. Yeah, thoughtless low-tier bomb, blah blah blah. Yeah, strongest sorcerer. You have zero idea what a black hole is. I repeatedly stated that the black hole Yuki made was through manipulating infinite mass. That's literally what the manga says, you dumbass. Manipulating one infinity is just lesser than Gojo manipulating two infinities, being push and pull. Gojo's speech when he kills Toji is literally him describing why his attacks are the strongest. Yep, this stuff right here, this whole statement, this little rectangle of text completely clears everything that Yuki did and ever will do. It's imaginary mass formed from something beyond two infinities. That concept is much greater than Yuki manipulating one infinity. Very true. This is me responding to the source guy, okay? I say, source bro, source of what? Gojo being the strongest. Did you not read the fucking manga? The special grade ranking is based on how well you destroy a nation. That's literally shown in the post. Very true. Meaning, if Gojo is the strongest sorcerer above Yuki, he would be able to do more damage to a nation than her. So if Yuki's attack is if Yuki's strongest attack is the black hole, and Gojo is the strongest sorcerer above her, then his strongest attack would necessarily have to be above hers. That's basic language comprehension. Did you graduate middle school? Facts. He is, nice argument, low tier. Yes, some guy above there said he is. I don't know. Like, a lot of the times I try to quote with, like, direct statements, like what the people are saying in response to me, but it's just interesting how people just, they just can't be bothered. I don't know. It is matter erasure, dumbass, because this guy up, the Jack guy said it wasn't matter erasure or whatever. Yeah, this shit. Oh. It is matter erasure. The parts that are hit by Gojo's attack are erased. You point out how there's rebel left. That's because Gojo chose not to obliterate everything around him. Do you think he's evil? Why would Gojo do that? You low tiers are so annoying to engage with. You have zero comprehension of the material you're so obsessed with talking about. Which is true. Like, look at this. Like, yeah, there's rubble. You think that's because Gojo wanted to erase everything behind him? Is that what he was trying to do there? Like, you can argue with how the scene is presented, you can argue, but that ultimately falls upon Gojo. You can make infinite apologetic arguments for why Gojo chose to do this. Meanwhile, you literally cannot argue with this. This is just directly verbatim stated. Right? It's beyond two infinities. It has beyond infinite potency. So saying, oh, well, it didn't erase all of the existence of the universe because it doesn't matter. It's just because Gojo chose not to do it. That's all that means. You know, that's all it has to mean. Nope, that's because Gojo chose not to obliterate everything around him. Very true. This guy, he says, y'all make Hollow Purple look like a spirit bomb. LMAO, Hanami survived that shit. It's reaching nowhere near the planet's core. So for starters, this guy, along with 2 other people, I think in this thread, also say that Hanami survives Hollow Purple. Gojo never uses Hollow Purple on Hanami. Or sorry, he never hits Hanami with it. He does shoot the attack at her in like season 1, but it's literally shown that Hanami escapes. She moves away from it, right? It does not hit her. Okay? So she never survives the attack. She never gets hit with it. So I don't... I'll save the rest of what I'm going to say for that, because like I just said, there's a guy down below who says the same thing. I'll give more when I get to that comment. This was the guy earlier talking about how you can't add to infinities. So he says, taking out a nation doesn't automatically mean who can cause the biggest explosion. It's about overall efficiency, versatility, control, stamina, strategy, and consistency. Okay, everything that you just said there goes in Gojo's favor. Everything there is in Gojo's favor, right? Destructive output alone isn't the only factor in determining the threat level. That's why Gojo ranks above, blah, 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 blah. Overall ability set, not just because he can do more damage. No. Everything here that you just said is a reason for why Gojo can do more damage, okay? He has more overall efficiency, versatility, control, stamina. They don't say this, but cursed energy as well. All those factors being in Gojo's favor allows him to create more potent attacks than Yuki. That's why he's able to make the Hollow Purple. If you remember back in chapter like 250ish or whatever, when Yuta was fighting inside of Gojo's body, he tries to use Hollow Purple and he comments how there's so much going on here. It's so complex and so hard to maintain, so hard to keep efficient that he can barely use the technique and it misfires. And this person, they lay it out for me. They literally describe why Gojo's able to utilize that technique to its fullest extent. It's because he has all of these attributes better than Yuki, right? That's why he's the strongest. And then, in terms of just, because I'm not just saying that these factors alone, right? Oh, he has more efficiency than Yuki. That means he's strong. No, it's because he has these factors which allow him to utilize this ability, which is literally infinitely more potent than anything Yuki or anyone in the series can do. Like, how do they not get that? Get a load of this guy. Yeah, what a fucking smart individual, dude. Nice argument. So I respond to this top person and I just repeat what I just said like 2 seconds ago. I just say, you made my argument for me. How do you not see it? Yes, Gojo's far beyond Yuki in terms of efficiency, control, blah, 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 blah. Which is why he's able to control his attacks to be much more potent than hers without causing all the damage to the surroundings. I don't know how many times I have to repeat this, but he literally manipulates space to an infinite degree, yet you guys think that him not destroying everything around him is because he can't, rather than Gojo simply choosing to restrict his attacks. Go watch any other anime and the concept is present. Power expression is very basic. You know, very true. Nice argument, low tier. That's me responding to this guy. No, we're finally here, bro. I remember this from last night. This D1 guy is genuinely, like, the source bro, that guy annoyed the fuck out of me, but this guy genuinely, bro, needs to be executed, okay? He needs to be hung at the gallows. He needs to be gone, alright? And yet 3 characters get hit with Hollow Purple and survived. I mean, Hanami is a low tier, and her ribs were still there. Let that sink in. Read that again. Give it a sec. He thinks Hanami survived Hollow Purple. I just... Where? The guy above, earlier, said the same thing. Hanami survived that shit. Where? What chapter? What episode? Where does this ever happen? She never gets hit with the attack. And the instance that he's talking about here with her ribs being there, that's in the Shibuya subway when she gets pressed up against the wall by Gojo's barrier and then she gets splattered. It's never from Hollow Purple. Like, and this person has a fucking Arame PFP from like chapter 250 something when Sukuna drops the Fuga arrow. He's read the manga apparently, and yet he doesn't know this? Like, am I getting rage baited? Is this like a group effort from these people to just say things that are not true to get a rise out of me? I don't understand how it's so popular, how people think this shit. It's so fucking garbage. And then this is the guy earlier that I mentioned who actually thinks he's wall level. He actually thinks that Teen Gojo making this concept beyond infinite potency is wall level. He genuinely says that right here. No, it was wall level because Gojo was young and weaker than he is now. He genuinely thinks that this is a wall level feat. What are you supposed to do to describe this shit to people, bro? They can't understand what's in front of them. They cannot interpret fiction. They don't understand. They're so fucking dumb. They see this and they think that's all he does. They don't read the words. This is how strong it is. It literally describes the ability for you. You don't need to look at the outcome. The outcome is determined by Gojo. It's determined by his will. It's determined by how much he wants to do with the technique. This is how strong it is. This is the description. Just like how when we go to the Yuki chapter, if we were to look at this, we wouldn't say the ground hole is only dirt level or only crater level. We'd look at this. We'd look at the description for what it's actually doing. Like, how is it so fucking hard? I hate it, man. I don't have any other... I'm just sick of it, man. I'm sick of these people. They should fucking stop existing. Situational context. Yuki can destroy the world because she can turn into a fucking black hole. That doesn't make Gojo capable of destroying the world. Well, guess what, buddy? This can destroy the world, and it has not infinite potency. So, this does have infinite potency, meaning it can destroy the world. Engage with that or fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, nobody ever actually addresses the point. Nobody ever references what's actually stated in the manga. The only time that they do reference to like the one guy earlier, he said, like, oh, it's not matter erasure, it's not infinities, and he put infinities in quotation marks. So, like, maybe he's referencing the manga, but the only time they reference the manga is just to straight up ignore and deny it. They don't ever actually just engage with it. They don't ever actually use what it says and just work with it. They always just deny what's stated directly on panel. It's, okay. So I responded to the D1 guy, said, yeah, 3 get hit with Hollow Purple and survive. Hanami never got hit with Hollow Purple. The scene of her ribs being there is from the subway, blah, 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 blah. Thanks for confirming to me that you haven't actually seen the series. You low tier. Facts. This guy, so this Ramones guy, I don't know why, I remember this from last night, but some of his comments didn't show up, so I'm responding to a comment that's not there anymore, but he does show up later in this thread down here, so I'll read this one out, I guess. Actually, I'm not going to read this one out, I don't really care. I'll just respond to this guy, because this is the only comment that we can see. It says, Gojo restricted the power of his attacks, then why would he opt for 200% Hollow Purple in the first place if he had to worry about everything else? So this guy's just not understanding my point, okay? When he says Gojo, he quotes me saying Gojo restricted the power of his attacks. I think he's thinking that I'm saying that he's restricting like the actual, like how much damage they cause in general, which is not true. Like when he shoots at Sukuna, he's trying to cause maximum damage to Sukuna, but when I say that he's restricting the power of his attacks, I'm saying in reference to his surroundings. He's not trying to destroy everything in his surroundings, right? The building, the city, the ground, those aren't the focus of his attacks, those aren't the targets of his attacks. So he's restricting the power of his attacks in reference to those things. Also, it just makes sense because he's not trying to destroy the world. He's not trying to destroy Shinjuku, right? So why would he destroy that? Like, why would he choose to inflict maximum damage on those things? That's just not what's happening, right? Right. Let's take a sip. Sip of this drink. Okay. So yeah, that's really all this comment's saying. He just doesn't understand how Gojo could be suppressing his power in reference to his surroundings when he's going full power. So nothing else to really say there. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, you're dumb. Argument from incredulity doesn't make sense if you don't understand. Okay, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. Doesn't matter if you don't understand. You can address the point or move on. Hanami never got hit by Hollow Purple. You low tier. Go rewatch JK season 1. Stop typing on Instagram. You're an embarrassment. This was the first guy that said that Hanami got hit by Hollow Purple. I like this guy's comment. I remember reading this for the first time. Dude, chill out. It's a book. You don't need to write multiple paragraphs over this. Just enjoy the show. No, I'm going to argue with strangers, okay? I'm going to stake my life on this, alright? Instagram comments is the new wave, okay? This is the battlefield that is changing America, alright? So I responded to this guy saying, no, I'm going to write 1,000 books about it. Suck my dick. If you don't have an argument, go away. Very true. You know, I don't know. He came flying in. He's like, stop fighting! He's like Sakura and with Naruto and Sasuke on the hospital roof. He's like, stop fighting! No. Alright, we're gonna fight about it. You dumbass, get out if you don't have a say. This guy says, yo, when did I ever say that he couldn't control his output of his attacks? I said it didn't make sense. If you're gonna get mad at my comment, let me read it right. This part doesn't really make sense, right? So he's saying that he's not denying that Gojo can control the output of his attacks, but then he is saying that doesn't make sense. You gotta pick one, buddy, okay? I don't care if you don't think it makes sense. If you're not denying that he can, then that means he can, right? Simple. Stand proud you can read? Yeah, I can read, although this isn't in reference to me, unfortunately. This person says, so he was holding back when he used Hollow Purple, max output versus Sukuna? Yes, he was holding back his destructive capability. He was holding back his power so that he doesn't destroy everything around him. That doesn't mean that he was holding back on Sukuna. It means that he was restricting his power so that it only damaged things near Sukuna, things around, on Sukuna, things around Sukuna, not destroy everything in a fucking 500-meter radius, okay? Like, that's what I'm saying. And, yeah, I respond to that guy. You know, he was containing the destructive power to only affect things nearby, not destroy the entire world. Yes, it's not so crazy. I quote the Ruholmes guy, the Ramones guy. I don't know why sometimes the ad doesn't pop up, but I did quote what he said. Yo, when did I say he couldn't control the output of his attacks? I said it didn't make sense, and then I respond, I say, I don't care about whether, whatever BS you're saying, I care about making an argument. And just right there, you made a pointless statement. If you aren't denying that Gojo can control the output of his attacks, then I don't care if you think it doesn't make sense. Your confusion isn't a point against what Gojo's doing, and it does make sense if you think about it for 2 seconds. My entire point in this whole thread has been that Gojo is planetary, just like Yuki. If he has that much power, why would he ever want to destroy the planet or the entire country or whatever? Gojo isn't evil, and if you already agreed that he can constrict the damage of these attacks, that these attacks cause to the surroundings, so what's the point, basically, right? So I say you already agreed that he can restrict the damage of these attacks, you know. So I don't understand what, like, this whole comment up here, this whole, I don't, like, what is his stance? I don't understand. Like, he's not denying it, but he's saying it, that doesn't make sense. He's trying to deny it, but he doesn't, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I've already established my reasoning. Right? I don't feel the need to, like, really drop any new arguments. I'm kind of just repeating the same shit at this point, but yeah, it's pretty basic. I gave the escalating scale argument. I gave the just literal breakdown of the wording, right? I gave the dozens of statements all throughout the series saying that Gojo's the strongest for a reason. I don't think there's too much else to say here. This one was really funny, though. LMAO, what type of agenda rot is this? His delusion is over 9,000. And then he says, rewatch JJK yourself, LMAO. Hollow Purple maximum output didn't even kill Sukuna. Sukuna stronger than Gojo. The amount of people, there's been like 3 different people in this thread who have brought up this point as if it matters, as if it means anything. Like, yeah, Sukuna not dying to Hollow Purple just means that he's stronger than Gojo. I don't know what else you guys need to get for that, right? Like, the fact that Gojo dies to Sukuna, the fact that Sukuna kills Gojo wasn't enough for you. The fact that Gojo's strongest attack hits him dead on at the start of the fight, and all that happens is Sukuna loses a couple arms, that wasn't enough for you? Like, what more is it going to take for you to just understand that Sukuna is stronger than Gojo? But whatever. And then he says it's not reaching anywhere near the Earth's core. Well, actually, it has beyond infinite potency, so you're right, it wouldn't reach anywhere near the Earth's core. It would just destroy the entire planet. How about that? How about that? You clearly have demonstrated your incapacity to read. Huh. Yeah. This is the shit, dude. Like, it's the source bro comment. It's like that thinking, this idea where somebody is making a point, they're speaking, and you have the audacity to tell that person that they don't know what they're talking about when you have no leg to stand on. It's just so, like, I don't know, I can describe it that way, but there's just like an intrinsic thing about humanity where it's like that interaction, like, it's the shit that gets your head bashed in with a club, okay? Like, when the 8 people back in fucking 400 BC were seeing that shit, right, like, that's the shit that would get you mauled. Okay, I don't understand how people genuinely can be so on their face, ignorantly fucking retarded, and not understand that they're the ones being retarded. Meanwhile, they're responding to people just literally saying verbatim what's happening in the series. Jesus, in the series, and they just deny it. They just openly deny it. Like, it's just so dumb, dude. It's seriously, like, it's subhuman. It's literally subhuman, bro. So please go rewatch and take some Geo lessons. Shut your fucking mouth. This guy, okay. Geo lessons. This reminds me, this isn't the comment, but another guy brings up, he says geography. It might even be the same. Let's look for that comment real quick. Let's look for it. Let's look for it. Is it gone? Oh no, it's, oh Jesus Christ, it's the same, it's the same comment, I couldn't fucking find it, okay? He says geography, and I wish I had the first recording from, like, the initial night that I did this, because it was on the spot. It was very good. It made me look like a genius. Okay, 'cause I was reading this for the first time, right? Going down, and I got to this part where he said geography, and I laughed because it's broken English. He spells geography. Like there's no space in that word, right? But then I thought to myself, I was like, well, I know like generally like what geography refers to. It's like countries or things like that, or like land masses, right? And I thought to myself, well, I don't even think we're talking about geography, right? Like I'm talking about the planet's core and things like that. I think what we're actually talking about is seismology. That's the word that I came up with. And I mean, just look it up, just seismology, right? Literally, that's that's just what we're talking about. Earth's internal structure, right? So it's like, I don't. It's just crazy, dude. I'm at like a loss for words, bro. I'm kind of dazed, you know. I don't really have too much of a snappy thing to say. It's just like I'm objectively, unequivocally, or whatever. Like I'm completely correct on this topic, you know. And the engagement that I'm getting on the opposition is just literally sub-tier, subhuman. It's garbage. It's literally worthless. Like I'm getting bottom of the barrel filth responses where people are saying things that they don't even understand, and then they're using incorrect words to describe concepts that don't even apply to the topic. It's unbelievable. And then on an offhand remark, on a whim, I am able to interpret the correct phrasing for the topic, and I wasn't even using this wording. I wasn't using geography. I wasn't using seismology, and just offhandedly, just based on like my just raw intellect, I just knew what the wording was that applied to this topic. Meanwhile, this guy who's literally arguing against me he's completely lost. He's lost. It's like, I don't know, bro. That's not to like struck off my ego or say that I'm so smart or whatever. It's just frustrating, man. Like because I know I'm not smart. I know I'm not some 700 IQ genius, you know, prodigy of science. You know, I'm a normal ass dude. So I don't understand why I'm able to have such a clear interpretation of what's going on and not have other people understand. It's just, I don't know. This comment I don't really care about reading. Yeah, I tell him just go back, read what Gojo says when he makes the hollow purple, right? Because his whole thing is talking about Gojo being defensive or whatever. It's not about his defenses. It's literally the fact that he has the strongest attack in the series. Okay, it's directly stated. There's one more comment that I need to get to because it was really dumb. Yep, it's this guy, the Jax guy. So not this comment. This one, This one doesn't really matter. It was this one. He says, yet hollow purple is not a black hole or stronger. You are literally making most of this up in your head. Am I? Am I making all this up in my head? Is this all just stuff that I made up? Are all these chapters, are all these words just things that I made up in my head? Okay. I get what you are saying, but it isn't the reality. Well, sorry buddy, but according to you, I'm making all this up in my head. This is all my work, right? So actually, it is the reality. I wrote the manga, I am the author, so yeah, it is the reality, sorry. Yuki becomes a black hole by adding infinite mass. No, she doesn't add infinite mass. This is not infinite mass, you low tier, so suck a dick. Gojo could only take the mass from the environment around him. No, Gojo doesn't take the mass from the environment around him. Gojo doesn't use mass, that's not what his technique does. Because his technique isn't the ability to manipulate mass. True. So I don't know why you're bringing this up. You're saying something that's irrelevant. It's like saying Gojo can't copy techniques like Yuta. It's like, okay, that's not what he does. So I don't know why it matters. He's creating push and pull and combining them to create imaginary mass. Yep, that is what I said. It's not the same as literally adding mass to a single point or him creating enough to create a black hole. So this guy, his idea, right? It's pseudo-intellectual, pseudo-science bullshit. It's when a 7-year-old tries to talk to the adults at like Thanksgiving at the table and they don't understand the words or the concepts or how to apply them to a conversation. So he hears me, he sees me talking about imaginary mass, right? And he in his brain hears mass and he's like, wait, I know where mass is. Yuki also has mass. They're both using mass. They're both talking about mass. It's the same thing. And Yuki just has infinite mass. So imaginary mass, it's not infinite mass. But dude, we're not talking about the same things, okay? Yuki's mass is not the same thing as what Gojo is creating here, okay? This concept is a potency attack. She is literally incorporating physical mass to, you know, spawn density, spawn pressure, or whatever. That's not the same thing as like that. It's just not the same concept. They're just not the same, right? And that's not even getting into the whole thing where infinite infinite mass versus imaginary mass. Well, imaginary mass is born, it's created from multiple infinities. So Yuki can have infinite mass, that's fine. It's not comparable to imaginary mass being born from multiple infinities. It's just not the same. Like, this guy doesn't understand what's happening. He doesn't understand the topic. He thinks that Gojo has to make a black hole. It's not the same thing, bro. It literally isn't matter erasure. It's funny, you can simply look this up. It's funny AF because there's a legit joke about how mindless people are with JJK, and one of the reasons is people literally think hollow purple is matter erasure. Yeah. So look it up. What does he think that means? Is he talking about on Google? Is he talking about, like, should I ask, like, the Google AI, right? Is that what he's saying? Is he saying that Reddit is going to tell me something? Like, what does he mean by look it up? Like, what does he think I'm going to see when I look it up? I'm using what's stated in the manga. The only thing that I quote-unquote looked up for this discussion was I looked up what the gravity would be if this statement was applied. And then I used ChatGPT to apply that to a person who weighed 180 pounds to estimate how much force Kenjaku would be receiving by being near this black hole, right? That's all I did. Everything else has been used from the manga. Okay, verbatimly, just stated on panel. So it's like, I don't know, what do you think I need to look up, buddy? What is there to look up? It's just insane. And then the final comment, I think this is the last one that I need to respond to, is this Jax guy. There's no at, but you can tell he's responding to somebody else. He says, brother, this guy, and I'm this guy, right? So he's saying, brother, this guy, J Black Millionaire, thinks Gojo Hollow Purple is a black hole. When did I ever say that? When did I ever say that in any of these comments? In any of these, when did I ever say that? He thinks Gojo's black hole is a black hole because he thinks Gojo's adding infinite mass to make push and pull, and also this is matter eraser. Or yeah, dude, what is this broken English nonsense statement? Oh God, went to his account. Oh no, am I gonna have to scroll all the way back down? I am. Yeah, it's just this comment here is just a complete representation of this entire video, of this entire thread. Okay, he takes something that I didn't say and using framing that is born from his misunderstanding of the topic entirely. He just has no understanding of the words I'm using, or the context of which I'm using them in, or the actual wording in the manga. So he takes things that I didn't say, applies them with his faulty interpretation, and then uses it as a point to, like, act as though I'm being ridiculous. It's just, Jesus Christ, dude. That is my problem with the JJK community. That is my problem with these low-tier, brainless, thoughtless, holy fuck, bro. I can't stand it. These people are so worthless. They have no business speaking. They have no business commenting. It's unbelievable to me. But yeah, a bit of a negative video, but it's more of a rant, if anything, you know. Just, I can't believe how many people don't understand Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't understand how this series is so hard for people to wrap their fucking heads around. Like, whatever. Alright. I'm Sauceman K. Hopefully this video turns out well. This is like my 4th time recording it, so I'm hoping all the audio's good. But yeah, that's it. This is my problem with JJK, the community, the anime community. Maybe I could apply this to the anime community as a whole, right? Or maybe Instagram comments. I don't know, but yeah. All right, I'm Sauceman K. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.